freaky on a Friday night, yeah.
Everyone knows what Friday Night Funkin' is. If you don't, why are you watching this video? I'm sure plenty of you are familiar with this game, as it has blown up in the past year. Its huge modding scene, its cartoony visuals, its homages to nostalgic material from the early 2000s, and its mostly good music. Even if the fanbase has some bad sides, there's still an undeniably large amount of creativity and talent in this community. I could gush and rant for hours on the stuff I like and dislike about Friday Night Funkin' as a whole, but that's not the point of this video. There exists a Friday Night Funkin' mod that's been getting real popular lately. You've seen the title, you know what it is. That's right, the Indie Cross mod. That's what this video is all about. This mod's focus is on commemorating indie games and their influence on the gaming community. But what is an indie game? It's essentially a game created by a small development team without financial support from a big game publisher. These games were well made and got popular despite not being a mainstream release. The hard work and determination of their small development teams got them where they are today. These games were gems in the gaming community because they showed that you didn't need some huge AAA company to pick up and endorse your project for it to be successful. So with indie games and their characters being as popular and influential as they are, what better way to honor them than make a Friday Night Funkin' mod for them? Give those beloved characters a new coat of paint, reference their source material, and show their timelessness. It was a genius idea, really. And so, a modding team got to work creating a project that could commemorate this awesome genre of games. In November of 2021, a demo for this mod was released, featuring 3 songs. A song featuring Cuphead from, well, Cuphead, a song featuring Sans from Undertale, and a song featuring Bendy from Bendy Machine. These characters are all from beloved indie games that blew up from 2015 and onward. The demo itself wasn't anything super special at the time. The demo got popular for a bit, but was soon mostly forgotten about. Then, 5 months later, in April of this year, Indie Cross V1 dropped. Oh boy, did this get popular quick. It took me around 3 weeks to finally get around to playing this mod. I was skeptical about its popularity, thinking it was only popular because of its recognizable characters. After all, the demo was neat, but nothing extremely groundbreaking. I avoided spoilers nonetheless and went into the mod completely blind. After installing the V1 build off of GameJolt, I launched the application and was greeted by this. A fully animated introduction cutscene. A high-quality animation with a cool concept and... Wait, was that Shovel Knight? Hollow Knight 2? Untitled Goose Game? FNAF? Needless to say, I was hooked. I excitedly moved on to the menu, taken aback by the impressive layout and clean aesthetic of everything on screen. This mod even has achievements, which of course I later 100%ed. Oh yeah, I neglected to mention, I'm a pretty good Friday Night Funkin' player. I've beaten a lot of mainstream difficult mods that have been released. I was hoping this mod would have some difficulty to it, as I always appreciated a fun challenge. I would later discover, oh yes, this mod was hard. Without any more dilly-dallying, I selected the Cuphead week on hard. First, I've just got to mention how good this animation is. The Indie Cross team really knocked it out of the park. The voice acting too. This opening cutscene looks like something straight out of the recently released Netflix Cuphead show. They even made it funny.
Let's say we settle this here and now.
Look at that, how is that not the funniest thing you've ever seen? After being very impressed by the week's intro cutscene, I got into the first song, Snake Eyes. I wasn't exactly impressed. I know a lot of people love Mike Gino and his unique lower pitch boyfriend vocals, but I wasn't a big fan of them. I was also off-put by Cuphead's vocals. He sounded scratchy and it didn't really fit with his character, I thought. The art was very good though. I didn't let my skepticism of the music stop me from enjoying the visuals. After watching the second cutscene...
Now where were we? Oh yeah, let's double down!
All my music-related doubts were put to ease when I heard the second song, Technicolor Tussle. It perfectly captured what Cuphead music sounds like, with some references to the original game's soundtrack too. The counterattack mechanic was well implemented, and I had a lot of fun with it once I figured it out. They even had a game over screen that looked exactly like the one in the original game too. The whole mod has these neat little tutorial screens, and those really helped me get through the weeks, so good job devs. You made a challenging mod with relatively easy to understand mechanics, and I was thoroughly enjoying it so far. Little did I know, however, that this mod was just getting started. I got onto the third song, captivated once again by the stellar cutscene quality.
Ah, nuts to this! Alright kid, you asked for this! Time to go full triple down on your ass!
This mod has an opening cutscene and post-song cutscene after each song in every week. This is one of the many hints towards the large amount of passion, care, and hard work that went into this mod. I started the final song in the Cuphead week, Knockout, and I must say, this song was extremely mechanically sound. Who am I kidding? This song was sound in every other department too. The health bar drain is a reference to an attack in Cuphead called Chaser, which does less damage than his normal bullets but doesn't miss. The way you switch from hitting notes to dodging to counterattacking made this little 3-minute song an extremely fun experience for me. I actually died a few times. Sometimes the song has you dodge and counterattack in the same turn. There's even an attack from the original Cuphead game called Roundabout that requires you to dodge it twice. The fact that the mechanics manage to not only be perfectly fitting for the games they come from, but are smooth and clean to play, look wonderful, and are also challenging enough that they add to the experience rather than detract from it is really impressive. This mod is full of mechanics like that. Well balanced, fun, challenging, and most of all, fitting. They nailed the gameplay of this mod, and the masterful mechanics are only complemented further by the excellent charting. There is genuinely not a single bad chart in this mod. Not only did they nail the gameplay and the charting, they also did extremely well with the visuals. The stormy scene is awesome for this song, and Cuphead even has some unique angry animations. If the artists working for this mod are willing to flesh out an entire sprite sheet and animation set for a single song, it really shows how dedicated everyone on the team was. There are several instances of this across the mod too, where a character gets custom animations just for a single song. I think that's a really cool touch. And the music was really enjoyable too. Go check out the Indie Cross soundtrack when you get the chance, you won't be disappointed. So, let's get back to the song. Smugman, no! Cuphead's response to his brother's mishap is to do some of the best turns in the whole song. The song wraps up and we're treated to another cutscene. With a charge shot to the sky and a Super Art 1 usage, Cuphead throws everything he has at Boyfriend. Just as it looks like Boyfriend's about to get the upper hand, Cuphead catches his mic and blasts him with an EX attack. Things look pretty bad for Boyfriend until he's conveniently teleported away by another indie game portal. How nice. So, overall, for the Cuphead week, 10 out of 10. They nailed the feel of the music, the references to the source material, the mechanics and difficulty, the animation, and the artwork. This week felt like some sort of official Cuphead crossover short film, but playable. Overall, this week is a very good introduction to the mod. After starting off with a nice amount of fan service, and even some teasing of Friday Night Funkin' mod tropes, the Sans Week's opening cutscene showed that this week was going to be even better than the last. That's what I loved about this mod when I first played it. It starts off very strong and somehow keeps improving from there. Anyways, we get started with the first song, Whoopee. And... oh. I'm sure I just wasn't prepared. Let's try again. Ouch. Why is this such a difficulty spike? Eventually, I got past the first turn and... it got drastically easier? Why? That doesn't make any sense. Oh. He used his strongest attack first, of course. That disproportionately hard turn is a reference to this line that Sans says. Little touches like that covert reference are what make this mod phenomenal. That little reference was so unnecessary, but so neat. Also, the constant Undertale soundtrack references are nice, and flow into the song well. The mechanics of the blue and orange bone notes are also a super nice reference to Undertale and its attack system. In Undertale, there are blue and orange colored attacks. If an attack is orange, you have to be moving as it passes through you, or else you'll take damage. If an attack is blue, you have to be still as it passes through you, or it will damage you. In this mod, you have to move to hit the orange notes and not move to hit the blue notes. If you hit a blue note, you'll be killed. If you miss an orange note, you'll be killed. I especially like the blue and orange notes because they make for some really cool and difficult charting opportunities. You can't afford to miss too much, or you'll miss an orange note and die. And you can't afford to get too trigger happy, or you'll hit a blue note and die. I had a lot of fun, even if there was only one turn that used these notes in this song. There's a dodge that will flash in front of Boyfriend periodically, but as you can probably tell by the existence of this video, I didn't have too much trouble with that. I'm good at dodge mechanics. This is also a reference to an Undertale Sans attack, but it's more loosely based off of Undertale than the blue and orange notes. We're treated to another cutscene with good animation and some nice references to Undertale once again. I could say the same about every cutscene in this mod. They serve as welcome gameplay breaks and neat ways to reference their source material. Anyway, the first song was amazing. Let's move on to the second one, Sensational. Even though the song doesn't introduce anything new mechanics-wise, it sounds pretty good. This was easily my favorite Sans song during my first playthrough. So, I wrapped up the song with a smile on my face, impressed by the music quality of this mod so far. It would only get better from here though. Third song, Final Stretch. Not much to say here, except the song is good. It was a nice wrap up to the week, and I'm glad they didn't make it anything too over the top in difficulty, music, or visuals. Whoa, that's pretty. We're in Waterfall from Undertale. They drew out a whole background just for this small section in this song. They put a lot of artistic effort into this song, and it shows. It even has cool cinematic bars, which block your arrows a little. It's a neat mechanic, but it's way cooler visually than it is difficulty-wise. Doesn't matter though, this song is very cool to play. Good music, good chart, and very cool visuals. Look at this, too. This black and white effect is very cool looking. This song serves as a really nice way to wrap up the Sans week, and it even has a wholesome ending. Once again, 10 out of 10 week. All that is nice and dandy, but Sans isn't finished yet. I didn't know this until after I played the Bendy week, but Sans' week has 2 routes. You can go pacifist or genocide, just like the morality system in Undertale. They designed his entire week to revolve around the theme of choice in Undertale, which is honestly very creative. The way you access the genocide route is by repeatedly attacking Sans during the second song. Towards the end of the song, the scenery will change to look like the battle interface from Undertale. It looks really clean, and it pleasantly surprised me. I then died to the upcoming blue and orange notes. After finally making it past the genocide section of the second song after a couple more attempts, we get an alternate version of the third Sans cutscene, in which we get possessed by Kara. Also, this line is hilarious. I moved on to the other third Sans song, Burning in Hell. The title of this song itself is a reference to the infamous phrase uttered by Sans before his genocide fight begins. This song shares another similarity to Sans' genocide fight. It's hard. It took me about 45 minutes to beat, which is a lot considering the song is only 3 minutes long. That leads me to my next point, the mechanics. They caused me a lot of trouble, because they're genuinely challenging mechanics. However, it never felt unfair when I died. If I hit a blue note, that was my fault. If I missed an orange note, that was also my fault. There was the introduction of a new mechanic, one that's exclusive to this song. Gaster Blasters, an attack that Sans uses during his fight in Undertale, will come from the sides of the bullet box, and you'll periodically have to move your soul around the bullet box to avoid getting hit by them. They kill you in 2 hits, and this gave me a lot of trouble throughout my runs of the song. They felt a little annoying to dodge sometimes, as it was easy to get cornered in the bullet box, but overall everything was fun and still felt fair. And of course the song is great visually. Every song in this mod is, what did you expect? Boyfriend has custom animations for the song, because he's evil now, and Sans has custom animations for a couple of turns where he's tired. They put a lot of time and creativity into this song, and it really shows. It's easily my favorite song in the Sans week. After I finally completed it, I got to watch another cutscene. Boyfriend gets blasted, and it seems like that entire song was for nothing, as Sans still wins. Never mind. Just like in the game, he can only get killed by a sneak attack. He takes Frisk down with him, and Boyfriend is once again teleported to another game. He's also once again in beaten down condition. So, along with the difficult but fun mechanics, great visuals and tracks, my experience with the Sans week was even better than my experience with the Cuphead week. Luckily for me though, the Indie Cross developers saved the best for last. When I first played this mod, I went in thinking this week would be my least favorite. I always saw the Bendy franchise as just another popular indie horror game with a convoluted story. To be fair, it kind of was. However, despite being based off of a game I wasn't extremely fond of, the Bendy week ended up being my favorite week by far, which was impressive due to the fact that the previous weeks had already been very good. So, enough hyping up this week, let's get into it. The opening cutscene, just like all the others in the mod, is nicely animated and does a good job setting up the environment. I don't really know what to say about the cutscenes that I haven't said already. This one is just as high caliber as the rest. So, on to the first song, Imminent Demise. It doesn't make too much sense that we're fighting a literal cardboard cutout, but here goes. Okay. I guess we're going first. Oh, he's just not gonna sing, is he? So, confusedly, I kept playing. I chuckled when the song ended, a minute-long song dedicated to Boyfriend singing to himself, thinking that this inanimate cardboard cutout will respond. And of course, at the end, he throws the mic at it to taunt it. I really like this mod's rendition of Boyfriend's character. He's stupid and cocky, but still likable. I was rooting for Boyfriend's victory throughout the whole story. Anyway, Bendy's here! You thought Imminent Demise was just a little funny song against a piece of cardboard? Nope! The song timer was even lying about the length of the song, which is a really good touch that helped complete the whole illusion. I love this reveal. They fit a cutscene into the middle of the song, which was surprising. I didn't even care much about Bendy, but when he came on screen, I was hyped. Solid introduction to the week. The rest of the song plays out pretty much normally, except with health bar drain and a nice background change. No mechanics, just a really cool spectacle. I was already hooked, despite never caring about the Bendy franchise very much. I watched the next cutscene and, look, I'm gonna be honest, I had no idea who this guy was. I had only ever watched the first chapter of Bendy, so I had no idea who Sammy Lawrence was supposed to be. Nonetheless, it was cool seeing another talking character in the mod, as I hadn't heard any spoken dialogue since Cuphead. Anyway, I moved on to the second song, Terrible Sin. There's not a whole lot to say about this song, honestly. It's a really solid song, and it sounds really good. I really like Bendy's voice. It sounds viscous, like it really is coming from a big inky monster. I think they got it pretty much spot on. The ink notes get introduced about halfway into the song, and they're what you'd expect. They cover your screen in ink if you hit them. If you hit 4 of them, you'll instantly die. I never found that out though, because I barely hit any. I've had plenty of practice avoiding hazard notes from the various difficult mods I've played, so this chart wasn't really a struggle for me. I finished the song and I was pretty surprised. They managed to make me invested in a week about a game I didn't really care about. The next cutscene was pretty cool. I didn't really know who the Butcher Gang was, but it was cool seeing Boyfriend get surrounded by a bunch of zombie-like creatures. This set the scene nicely for the next song. Also, Sammy's back is definitely broken. Just before getting into Last Reel, the third song, there was another one of those helpful tutorial screens. Wait, combat mechanics? Dodging? Counterattacking? Insta-kill notes? Yeah, it was a combination of all the mechanics the mod had been introducing so far. I was excited. With an instrumental startup and a jump scare scream from Bendy, I was thrown in. Let me just say, the combat is easily my favorite mechanic in this entire mod. Fending off the endless amounts of enemies coming from my left and right as I bounce between hitting notes, dodging, and counterattacking was some of the most fun I've had in any Friday Night Funkin' mod ever. I loved managing my attack cooldowns and watching out for the enemies to telegraph their attacks. Even if they hit you, it only inks your screen a little, so it doesn't feel too punishing either. Not to mention, this song sounds really good. I'm always a fan of higher pitched vocals, so hearing Bendy and Boyfriend hit high notes was satisfying to me. Last Reel is easily my second favorite song in the soundtrack. Boyfriend even has custom poses in this song to make him appear more nervous as he's surrounded by the Butcher Gang. Very cool. Anyway, back to the gameplay. Fighting off the Butcher Gang was super fun, and the chart was really good too. Instead of being strewn all over the place, the hazard notes are well placed, and that goes for every song with hazard notes in this mod. They're all really well placed, and you can see that the people that charted this mod knew what they were doing not only with the normal note placement, but the hazard placement as well. With the fun chart, intuitive combat, and high energy music, I was having a great time. We reached an instrumental break, and then... That didn't even scare me the first time I played it. I just laughed. Despite me not knowing at all who the Butcher Gang were, I was already in love with them. This guy just jump scared me and flipped me off. That's hilarious. Eventually, through more fighting and fun charting patterns, I got to another break. But this time Bendy decided it would be fun to completely drain my health bar. Some cool build up for the next section, I must say. I would praise the music more, but I feel I've done enough of that. You can clearly hear that this is a cool song, you don't need me to tell you that. We get to the final push, and wow, that's a lot of hazard notes. This whole section feels really tight and precise, especially with your vision being almost completely blocked by this guy that just decides to have a nice stroll in front of your arrows. And with that climactic final verse, the song ends. I personally loved this song the first time I played it, and I still do. Combat mechanics, the mid-song events, the middle finger, I had a lot of fun with all of it. At the end of that climactic song, we get another cutscene, obviously. Bendy gets mad, Boyfriend makes fun of the typical Friday Night Funkin' mod formula some more, and then... Ouch. Oh well, off we go! Another tutorial screen appears, and oh, how quaint. I love how they use the screen to be threatening instead of helpful. It's a nice touch, and it sets the mood nicely for the next song, Nightmare Run. So, right off the bat, the moving background and the running animations look really smooth. The custom boyfriend animations look great, and Bendy's running animation really matches his gangly nature. The music is really good too, but you don't need me to tell you that. That's just something to expect at this point. Also, look, boyfriend flips him off in his right pose, that's hilarious. This song has one of the most fun charts I've ever played in all of Friday Night Funkin'. No joke, there's enough hazard notes so that they still feel tough to avoid, but they aren't overwhelming. And, as always, the hazard notes are well placed. All the turns flow so well, and they all feel so satisfying to pull off. Now, back to the visuals. As you've noticed, we're underground. The arrows change their color scheme and everything gets darker. It's a neat effect, and the arrow color change genuinely provided me with some challenge, as they start to blend with the ink notes. After a couple of really nice build-up turns and this pattern, oh my god, it's so fun to play, just trust me on this is such a good pattern. We get to one of the coolest moments in the entire mod. This mod is so awesome. I love this song's visuals so much. It feels like a really high-octane chase throughout the entire studio, and then it immediately transitions into another super cool backdrop, this time with the ink machine in the background. I love how during the dark sections, the shadow notes, the insta-kill ones, glow golden and get a trail effect. It makes them easier to spot and avoid, and also makes them look way cooler. The little transitions between backdrops are really smooth and clean looking too. They flow really nicely with the music and the chart. This is just a really visually, musically, and mechanically solid song. I can't think of anything it could do better. We get another build up, the same as the last one, and then get another tunnel section for this song's climax. They did not go stingy on the hazard notes here, yeesh. All the patterns in this section feel so tight, barely fitting normal notes between the hazard notes. That combined with the color change of the arrows made this section rather challenging to play, and it was really fun. Switching back to the normal lighting, thank God, we get to the final push. A pretty difficult pattern and a nice held note on both sides to send off the song. I really liked this cutscene. I was genuinely worried about what might happen to Boyfriend if Bendy caught him. It was overall very theatrical. I liked that they showed that Boyfriend can fend for himself instead of making him helpless like he usually is. He holds his own against the horde of Butcher Gang members, and he does well until Bendy gets there. And then throws him through a wall. And then beats the ever-loving crap out of him, oh my god. This mod isn't afraid to show Boyfriend getting his butt whooped, which I like. He's pretty much outmatched in every week of this mod. His opponent is always stronger than him, but he always just scrapes by. This time though, he wasn't quite so lucky. As Bendy closes in, things look bad for our protagonist. Until... what a send-off. That cutscene had me so hyped when I first played through this mod. The mic drop that Boyfriend prepares to do at the end and everything. They made it super cinematic, and I was really invested. Now you can see why I babbled about the Bendy week being my favorite for so long. It's just a really nice way to end the mod's main weeks. That's not all though, this mod still has plenty in store. I'm going to go through these bonus songs pretty quickly because there isn't as much to unpack as in the main weeks. First up, Satanic Funkin'. They got the devil into this mod, and they perfectly captured his energy and his animations. The song is alright, but the visuals are where it really shines. It even has a Cuphead reference in the opening animation where the devil does his cool eye trick. There's a dodge mechanic where you avoid the incoming enemies from the devil's fight in Cuphead that run from left to right. This one I'm not a huge fan of. When it's the devil's turn and the camera moves to the left, enemies can still come from the right side of the screen and hit you before you can even react and press space. It's bothersome, but they only do half your health as damage, so you can scrape by. Other than that, there's some glowy hazard notes that damage you if you hit them, and health bar drain when the devil sings. The song isn't anything super special, but it's cool. Now for Boondoggle. This song doesn't have any mechanics other than a third chart for Sans, which is pretty cool. This song nails Papyrus and Sans' dynamic, with Sans being a goofy, laid-back lazybones, no pun intended, and Papyrus being a show-off that's trying hard to keep up a cool guy facade, while Sans makes a fool of himself by falling asleep and doing stuff like this. This song is really good, and it doesn't need any flashy mechanics to do what it's trying to do. I appreciate how much effort this mod is willing to put into even the bonus songs. There's another Papyrus song called Bad to the Bone, but it's not as good and there isn't anything special that happens during Installation, so you can listen to that yourself if you want. Next up is Ritual. I didn't really care about this song when I first played the mod, as, like I said, I didn't know who Sammy Lawrence was. The song is cool visually, with the candlelight backdrop and Sammy's animations. It doesn't have any mechanics other than ink notes, bendy cutouts, and a surprise dodge at the end, which is very evil and caught me by surprise the first time I played it, so I had to replay the song. Overall though, cool bonus song. Time for Freaky Machine. Unfortunately, I never listened to Build Our Machine back in the day, as I wasn't involved with the Bendy franchise or its community, so I didn't really appreciate this song as much as I felt like I should have. The animations are super cool and bouncy though. I couldn't help but notice that Cartoon Bendy sounds kinda like Mickey Mouse. Which makes sense considering they're both cartoon mascots from similar time periods. At some point in the song, Bendy flies and turns evil or something. Some cool Bendy animations play in the background, flashing from a projector. Overall, cool music and visuals. So, that wraps up the bonus songs. I told you we'd get through them quickly. That's not all this mod has though. The mechanics used throughout the weeks are barely scratching the surface of the difficulty this mod can achieve. Let's see what happens when you push these mechanics to their limits, shall we? The Nightmare songs. These surprised me. I played through the main weeks and bonus song and was already impressed by everything. I wasn't expecting this mod to be one with super difficult bonus songs. Nonetheless, they're here, and they're brutal. First up is Nightmare Cuphead's song, Devil's Gambit. This is the shortest Nightmare song, and also the easiest. It still gave me a lot of trouble though because I'm stupid and didn't realize that Cuphead has a telegraph for his attack. I tried to memorize the dodge locations because you don't get enough time to react to them if you don't see the windup. If I had noticed the telegraph animation's existence when I first played through the song, it would have been a lot easier. The only other mechanics in this song are the same hazard notes from Satanic Funkin' and the counterattack mechanic from the Cuphead week. The screen also shakes when Cuphead sings, which is a neat effect that gives his turns more impact. This song is extremely good, by the way. All of the Nightmare songs are really good, in fact. Maybe I'm just a sucker for hard songs, who knows. The point still stands that the music for these songs is very good. Anyways, the visuals. This song looks super clean. The background shows that Cuphead has killed the devil, which is concerning. Cuphead himself looks super cool, with smooth, energetic animations and a cool fire effect. I like that the Nightmare songs utilize the color themes that each character has. Cuphead is red, Sans is blue, and Bendy is yellow. It's like that on the logo, in the loading screens, it's everywhere. Putting the characters' Nightmare designs in their color themes is a very cool concept, and it looks pretty nice. Next up is Bad Time. This song is really hard. It took me an hour or two to even beat it once on my first playthrough of the mod. Remember the blue and orange notes? Yeah, they're back, and this time with even higher scroll speed, so you have less time to see them coming. The backdrop and all of Sans' animations look super cool. They're just as energetic in the last song's animations, and are equipped with the screen shake that accompanies Sans' singing, just like in the last song. The relatively easy bone wall dodge from the Sans week has been revamped. It now flashes blue or orange. If it's blue, pressing space to dodge will instantly kill you. If it's orange, you have to press space or you'll also instantly die. Throwing a flashing exclamation point in front of your face and then punishing you if you dodge it is so evil, and I loved it. The mechanics work really well together and, once again, are a nice parallel to Undertale's blue and orange battle mechanics. The blue and orange notes are used to their full potential here, especially with this pattern. You have to time hitting the orange notes between dodging the blue notes. It's a cruel, evil pattern, but it's genius. Overall, the challenge the song presents is much welcomed, and I had a lot of fun repeatedly dying to it. The music is also pretty good, and is just as high energy as the rest of the song's components. Finally, there's Despair. This is my favorite song in this mod in terms of music and gameplay. The entire vibe they go for in this song is dread, and it works. Oh boy does it work. Everything is a mix of yellow, Bendy's signature color in this mod, and black, Bendy's actual signature color. Because, you know, he's made of ink and all that. The song starts off with a cool intro. And then you're thrown straight into the fray. The first couple of minutes of this song aren't too bad, and don't have any mechanics other than the usual screen shake that occurs when the Nightmare characters sing. The song is 5 minutes long, and it sounds great throughout its entire duration. I have no better way to describe this song other than calling it an absolute gauntlet, one that tests the player's abilities in every department. About 2 minutes in, the background fades in to reveal the ink machine, and enemies start coming in from the left and right. The enemies in combat function identically to how they do in Last Reel, however there's a new enemy that runs from the left and right sides of the screen, and functions exactly how the minions in Satanic Funkin' do. They take away half of your health if they hit you, and, just like in Satanic Funkin', are nearly impossible to dodge if they appear from the right during Bendy's turn. That little issue gave me a lot of trouble during my attempts with this song. This song took me a total of 2.5 hours to even beat once. Like I said, it's brutal. Speaking of Bendy, I love his Nightmare design. He really fits the entire song's mood of pure dread. He's a being of pure torment at this point, and he even flips you off with his slender, bony fingers, which I of course found amusing. My main complaint about this song was how everything kind of gets lost in a sea of yellow, meaning the enemy attack telegraphs are significantly harder to see in this song. I got better at looking out for them over time, but it was really bothersome at first. After finally getting past the 4-minute mark of the song, I was feeling pretty stressed. All that stress was multiplied when I saw the fire begin to rise in the background and heard the music begin to swell. The absolute feeling of, well, despair I felt when I realized the song wasn't over was terrifying. It saved its hardest moments for the end. All I can say to describe the final segment of this song is 49 seconds of pure hell. The song has you play a 49-second long turn with no breaks, while still dodging and attacking enemies. Not to mention the chart is riddled with ink and death notes, and everything is on fire, make it stop! It is such a stressful experience, and I've legitimately never had my heart rate be faster while playing a Friday Night Funkin' song. This song was an absolutely insane test of my multitasking abilities, not to mention having a ridiculously hard chart. And when I finally got to the end of the song, Bendy jump scared me. That gave me a little chuckle. Of course Bendy is enough of a jerk to kill you after beating his stupidly hard song. In summary, they really went all out on the difficulty for the Nightmare songs, and I wasn't complaining because I had hoped this mod would be challenging in the first place. I can safely say that I got what I wanted and more. Now that I've reviewed all the content in this mod, I can tell you guys a story. I'm a bit of a try-hard Friday Night Funkin' player. Because I love this mod so much, I wanted an excuse to play it more. So I took on the challenge of beating every song in the mod with no misses. That's right, even the Nightmare songs. I eventually did it, but I can safely say I will never attempt such a difficult challenge ever again. The main weekend bonus songs weren't hard at all to full clear, due to their mostly easy charts and relatively short song lengths. Overall, I had more fun with my runs of these songs because I didn't feel like I was bashing my head against a wall over and over for hours on end. Devil's Gambit took me about 2 hours worth of attempts to full clear, which wasn't too terribly bad. I never found myself dreading playing the song again, so everything went over alright. Bad Time, however, took at least 3 hours. The mechanics weren't even the hard part of trying to fully clear the song. The chart itself just has some extremely hard patterns. This one in particular gave me a lot of trouble. Despair was next, and ironically this was the first song in the mod I full cleared. My original goal was just to full clear Despair because I wanted to be the world's 5th person to do so, which I achieved, top 5 baby! After full clearing Despair, I decided to do the rest. Anyway, Despair took me at least 10 hours of attempts. 10 hours spread across a week of playing. I would sit down for an hour or two and just keep trying over and over to full clear it, and if I missed even once, I would restart the entire 5-minute song. That final 49-second turn is absolute hell to full clear. Because you have to focus so much on the notes, you don't have time to attack the enemies. All you can do is dodge as you hit note after note. It gave me so much trouble, and I'm so glad my time of suffering on Despair is over. Anyway, I survived the ordeal, and I've now full cleared every song in the mod and gotten all achievements. True 100% completion. This is the only mod I've done that with, and I only did it because this mod is extremely special to me. It's easily the best Friday Night Funkin' mod I've ever played. Overall, I just don't know what to say. This mod, everything about it was just so amazing. I've never had more fun with a Friday Night Funkin' mod. My hours spent trying to beat the songs, only to go back and pump even more time into them with my full clear attempts, was all time I enjoyed. This mod is perfect in every aspect. Gameplay, art, music, charting, mechanics, references, everything. I love it so much, and I now understand why it blew up so much in the Friday Night Funkin' community. I've got the download link to this mod in the description, and if anything I've said even interests you slightly, please go show this mod some love. It's proof that the Friday Night Funkin' community can accomplish absolutely incredible things when they put enough effort and passion into it. This mod is a perfect example of what Friday Night Funkin's purpose is. Tons of love and attention given to old games from community members and developers that really truly care. It's a love letter to indie games, and it's being continued. I look forward to what the Indie Cross team can come up with in the future, and I'll be staying tuned until then. So, Indie Cross devs, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for the passion you put into this project. It means a lot to this whole community. Oh my god, they're gonna add Hollow Knight. They're gonna add Hollow Knight. Oh my god, they're gonna add Hollow Knight. I love Hollow Knight.